Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. This is a very exciting day. If we were cricketers, we'd be probably holding our bat aloft and pointing them at someone we care about, or perhaps then grabbing our baggy green and giving that emblem a little kiss. If we were footballers, there'd be a big banner with our names and the number 100 on it, and we'd be running through it and we'd be cheered off after the game. Because today, ladies and gentlemen, is episode 100 of Uncommon Sense. Welcome, Dean Holmes and Craig Kamanis here with you for number 100. We're excited, we couldn't be happier. Dean, welcome.
Thanks, Craig. And obviously great to be here and great to celebrate the milestone of 100 episodes. So it is a little bit about us today, and as opposed to a particular business topic. And we wanted to go through and reflect a little bit in terms of what we have achieved and how awful we may have been at the start.
Terrible even.
Or terrible. I reflected by watching episode number 1 to begin with, and my lesson is that I was actually terrible on the first episode. I had a fair few ums, literally before my name even, so I didn't even know my name. There was a few hesitations, but that was representative of us trying something new and also not knowing how to do it. So we hadn't necessarily been trained. We were learning on the job by committing to do it on an ongoing basis, and pretty proud of now reaching 100. And as Craig may have hinted at last time, we're already seeking guests for next year. So
we definitely are.
Continuing on. Craig, as we do some reflections, I've got some questions without notice. So Craig hasn't even seen these unless he's looking at the paper.
Yeah, just have a look now.
But Craig, what are you proud of in terms of the 100 episodes and what you've achieved?
So I could break that down into a few things. So number one is just the fact that we became accountability buddies on this, right? And I know we talked about that in probably one of the episodes about having an accountability buddy. It's that thing of going, we're going to start this and we're not going to stop. And I think you did a post a little while back, keep going when no one's listening, because it was pretty evident no one was listening. We had all these jokes going, we doubled today, we had 1 to 2, and maybe I don't think we got 2 to 4, but so it's that ability to start something and not quit it. Like, it's very easy to start, it's even easier to stop.
Yep.
But we just didn't, and we just kept going. And I don't even think we ever spoke about episode 100, Dean. Like, I think we just chiseled out and went, we're going to do it every fortnight for the next 12 months and keep going.
Absolutely. Like our commitment at the beginning in terms of this not breaking the chain was that we commit to it and start. If we were going to start, we needed to do it for 12 months. And so we've been repeating that formula for 3 years in a row now. And that kind of got us to it.
It got us there. And I think then the second part of that answer is the development. If this was episode 1, the worst intro you've ever seen, I think there's a million faces of Craig Kamanis over 100 episodes, a different hairstyle, a different t-shirt, a different whatever. But I had paper all over this desk, and where am I going next and what are we doing in the prep? But I think that development is lovely too. So you get to here now, and it's much easier to do and it's much easier to talk. But if you ask me, the thing I'm most proud of in all of that is I think we stayed real and we stayed raw and we just said what we were thinking. Yep. We never came up with, oh, you can't say that, or you shouldn't say that. What if someone doesn't like that? What if someone doesn't?
It's all right, no one's listening anyway.
No one's listening anyway, so it doesn't matter. But we just stayed true to heart and we just said what we were thinking.
Yep, absolutely. And we know that we do have a listener now, or listeners in terms of that, and that's something that I'm proud of. It's been a little bit of a surprise as well, is that I looked at on YouTube, we get the data of the people that have don't listen on LinkedIn that come in later on. And so we've had 5,000 views in total, which is a pretty good number. We're not approaching Mr. Beast status or anything like that, but 5,000 was really a really good achievement.
So it's good to know I ruined someone's walk.
Correct. Someone is listening to us. But what's really valuable in that insight is that the last 12 months has been represented 4,000 of the 5,000 views. And so that's probably just the lesson on this, the concept that we talk about of this overnight success, is that people think you've got this overnight success, whether it's in fitness or health or business or life in general. But the reality is they didn't see all the steps that went before us. And so our first episodes of the 2 years of the first episodes didn't get as many views as the last 12 months. And that's representative of the fact that it does take a while to build the audience, to build the skill set around having these conversations. The content was fine 3 years ago. You can go back and listen to the content. The delivery was awful, and we learned some things around how to tell better stories. And so, yeah, we're thinking obviously over the next 12 months that we would have more than 4,000 subscribers over the next, or views over the next 12 months. The other thing that I hear when I watch Diary of a CEO, which is another quality podcast, just slightly ahead of Uncommon Sense, is that the introduction to every single one of his podcasts, he says that he's surprised that only 50% of the people that watch his episodes on YouTube are subscribers. And when I looked at our data, Craig, exactly the same. So people that watch don't subscribe to the channel, and so we would recommend that you do that. But that, I think, is a little bit of a surprise for me, and maybe for you as well, is that we've found over the years that people watch and they just don't tell us.
Yeah. And the other day you did a post on LinkedIn and there was a few people there going, congratulations guys, some of your best content yet in the last few weeks and this type of thing. I didn't even think you'd be listening to that.
Yeah.
Like it's quite funny.
So it's I think that goes down as a little bit of a surprise, is that we just didn't realize that the people are watching that don't actually tell us they're watching. Now, you don't have to. We're not doing it for a pat on the back, but that was a great surprise.
Yeah, but I think that it's lovely as it's built. The reality is you and I could sit here and have this conversation every fortnight, whether someone listened or not, because we just enjoy chatting to each other. We enjoy all of the things that go to business, all of the things that contribute to running advice firms and all of that type of stuff. And I think there's not a episode that's ever gone by where I haven't finished it off and hung up, and whatever we talked about that day resonated with me for the next week and made me think about different bits and could we make that better and how can we do that better in advice firms too. So
Absolutely. What about lessons, Craig, that you've had?
I've learned that it doesn't matter where you are to do these things, so you can't make excuse unless you're absolutely. I did try on a plane once, but I don't think that
we couldn't get onto Qantas Wi-Fi.
Qantas Wi-Fi, but if you go back through the episodes, because obviously my role outside of Uncommon Sense is quite mobile. I think I've been in car parks. I think I've been in gardens outside function centres. I think I've been in airports.
Absolutely.
And so I think it's don't ever give up and don't let what would be an easy excuse to just not do it take over. You can find a way no matter what.
You can find a way. And the other thing you can gauge from all the episodes as well is the beards of Craig Kamanis, and myself to be frank as well, is that if you're ever thinking about getting a beard and you've got some style like Craig Kamanis, you can just scroll through the 100 episodes and actually see an ever-changing beard. I had a beard at the start.
It's funny, right? So episode 1, you had a beard and I didn't. And now episode 100, you don't and I do.
Sorry, but mine is not coming back, don't worry. So another lesson for me that I found really valuable in the work that I do is I found that the episodes became something that I could actually teach from or give a resource to someone. So if I was actually talking to an advisor about a particular topic, it was easy for me to say, go and watch that Uncommon Sense episode where Craig and I spoke about it.
Yep.
And so the evergreen nature of some of the things that we talk about, we talk about them often, and they're actually coming up more often in advice practices. And so we're able to use the resource of episode 32 and actually let someone go and watch that episode to learn something that they otherwise wouldn't.
So something we can teach the listeners off the back of that, because I know you're good, but you're not this good. You can't just remember that in episode 10 we spoke about X. So what technology have you used with our catalogue to work
absolutely.
out
So
and correct someone somewhere on one of these episodes?
So the thing that I have done that's really interesting, and this is my chance to say AI, because hey,
we had to get one in.
You got to get it in literally everywhere these days. But so
could you say Boris Johnson though?
AI. But Uncommon Sense is powered by AI in the context that we've taken the transcript of every single episode that we've ever done. That sits in a folder, and we built an AI agent over the top of that with Copilot. And so what that's been able to do is take 100 episodes of ideas or 99 episodes of ideas, and it's a searchable content history of every good thing that we've said, and therefore all those good things that we have said, we can extract that information, create LinkedIn posts off it. We can ask it the question of when did I talk about that, so I can give that episode to someone. So this resource has become a live resource that we can use on an ongoing basis.
Yeah, and I think that's important to anyone running a business too. If you're doing something similar to this or a regular client online seminars and all of that type of thing, record the things, get it catalogued and organised, because whenever a client asks a question, no better resource to send them to than this. And there is no doubt even this for us has created us other opportunities outside this, because they look and go, do you do that podcast with that guy? And then it makes them think, what's the extension of what they do? And they go and look through those things and who are you connected to and how does that work? And it tends to just drive eventually more activity as well.
So my favourite episode, Craig?
Yes, that would be really, tell me.
My favourite episode is, I can't remember the number of the episode off the top of my head, but what
You should put that into...
I should put that into AI. But what was really funny about this episode as a lesson is that I did the entire episode on mute. So it was a solo episode that I was doing, and I had my microphone and I must have moved it and clicked my thumb on the button which muted the microphone. And I did the entire episode and no one said anything on LinkedIn, which is okay because typically there's only a few listeners on LinkedIn. But then that episode is not that exciting, but yet I still had to post it and go through it. And so sometimes the lesson or the favorite episode was that taught me a lot about mistakes happen, and broadly it doesn't matter. Over 100, a few things have happened at different points in time, but at the end of the day, I was on mute for the entire time. I said something phenomenal, and I only said it to myself.
And no one else
heard it.
No one else will ever know. But that's the rawness of this. And I think the people we've connected with over time, that Cam and stuff who have told us about videoing and all of that type of thing, it's been like nothing's ever going to be perfect.
No, correct.
You don't have Spielberg standing over there with a whole crew. I know
I'm actually looking at it going,
but...
I may have cut my head off on this particular film, but at the end of the day,
it's
most
possible
of things...
you're not even here right now.
Correct.
Okay, that's fine. Hey, is there, what for you, mate, one deep, dark learning that's really come from 100 episodes of this?
I think my lesson over the 100 in terms of what's happened is that I think that I'm a better speaker now as a result of doing this. And it's not just about public speaking, it's speaking in general. So when I look back at that first episode and it was full of ums, notwithstanding I probably still have some ums today, I have been able to learn how to speak slower, try to probably use less words, and also the interviewing context at the same time, or talking with someone to an audience, means that we do have to listen to the other person first and foremost, have really good questions and follow-up questions, but that conversation is really important. So I think I've learned to slow down the way in which I speak, which normally I'm typically quicker, so I've tried to slow it down. Definitely been relatively comfortable with pauses, because when someone's listening back to this, the length of the pause is much shorter than what we might think a pause is. And then when you're interviewing or talking to another human, it has to be a two-way conversation, which is a bit about body language when you're in person, but still a bit about body language when you're in Adelaide and I'm in Sydney. And then same with the someone that you're interviewing, you have to have that same connection with that person. Obviously, most of our stuff, even with the people we're interviewing, they're remote as well. And so bringing those three faces on a screen and having a valuable conversation.
Yeah, and it's funny, you've gone, I feel like I'm a better speaker, and you hinted on this, because I would say I feel like I've developed to be a better listener. Particularly when we're not together, right? Like when we're sitting here like this, it's easier to converse. But when you're on video, you had to learn and develop this technique, is when is Dean going to stop so I don't talk over the top of him or cut him. And if you go back through the episodes, there's no doubt I've cut you off at times because I thought you were going to stop. Yep. And sometimes what that is, it's that whole listening to answer versus listening to understand.
Yep.
And so even though we know each other really well and we know what our topic's going to be and all of that type of thing, when we are conversing, what I learned I had to do is continue to listen to understand.
Yeah,
and not be like so gunned to, I've got a point, I really need to get that out now, I might forget, or something like that. Isn't it funny? Better speaking, better listening, and probably together it's a great combination of both.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that goes down as the skill and lesson that I've built up over the last 3 years.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about these different things, Dean. Do you think we should maybe let our listeners and the people hopefully watching, because you want to watch this one because there's a bit of fun coming, perhaps what we should do now is reflect on the last 100 episodes.
Yep, absolutely. So we've got a hype reel.
Yeah, strap yourselves in and have a look at this.
You're starting?
I'm starting.
After the
I'll do
countdown.
a countdown. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense. It's Craig Kumanis and Dean Holmes.
We are live.
Okay, we're live.
As worked. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dean and Craig coming to you live for the first session of Uncommon Sense. Good afternoon and welcome to episode 47 of Uncommon Sense, the first for 2024. Craig Kumanis, welcome.
Sense number 36. Here with you today is Craig Kumanis and Dean Holmes. Excited for us today on Common Sense with our first topic that we want to cover off, just about breaking the chain, or not breaking the chain rather. The very live example of that is Uncommon Sense, where we've made a commitment to do this every fortnight into our second year running now. And
Made a good effort to record today. Ladies and gentlemen, the episode today that we want to talk about is the client experience. Welcoming our first guest as well, Lisa, to Uncommon
Okay,
Sense.
so I'm the co-creator of Brandover, and we're a brand and marketing consultancy specifically to transform financial brands to attract quality clients who get them, trust them, and tell other people about them.
that was Doing Business in December. That was also Uncommon Sense episode 99. Dean, we have one to go for the year, and a very special one that will be.
Coincidentally, Craig, the last one of the calendar year actually ends up being episode 100. It's like we organised it, but it's a
like we
coincidence,
organised
ladies and gentlemen. Thursday, the 11th of December is locked in as Uncommon Sense number 100. We're really looking forward to spending episode 100 together, live together. That was a hype reel.
It's the hypest of hype reels I've seen in a while. It was
So
it was
thank
good
you
fun.
to Kate, who works with me in our marketing team, who pulled all that together. And special shout out to Kate and Franz, who have done great things for the podcast in their time. Franz, in her wisdom, says to me, "What are you going to talk about?" And in the first instance of Uncommon Sense, we didn't tell anyone what the topics were going to be. And Franz, in her wisdom, said, "You need to tell people what the topic is, so they can work out whether they want to listen to the topic." And it sounds very obvious when I say it now, but that's what she brought. So she brought a spreadsheet and a list of all the topics that we talked about. And that's been great because we've planned much more in advance about the things we're going to talk about.
What I also loved about that was there's your topic.
Yes.
And so even if we were like, oh, gee, what are we going to? It was a bit of excitement to go, okay, what's coming up?
Yeah.
What do we have to talk about versus us just going on the Monday? Should we talk about that this way?
Yeah,
so
correct.
it's
Yeah.
good fun. And I'd say to people listening, next year we're back. If there's something you want us to talk about, just tell friends and we'll add it to the schedule.
Absolutely. So Franz has done a great job with that. And Kate in marketing has done two amazing things. Obviously the hype reel, but in addition to that, she's made the YouTube channel much more professional, amongst other things she's been doing. So we've got our faces on each of the videos now. You can still see the beards of Kumanis, but you've got to look back in the back book. But it just feels more professional as a result of having those front end reels and things like that. So thank you to Kate and thank you to Franz for helping Uncommon Sense be more professional while still retaining the grassroots of Kumanis and Holmes.
There you go. What a journey, hey?
Indeed. So that is episode 100 of Uncommon Sense. So thank you for listening and watching, obviously with the hype reel and Craig and I. It's been an incredible journey, which we've both committed as we were indicating that we're coming back for next year. We're still not accepting sponsorship in terms of dollars and cents, but if you want to wear a cap, something of the like, we'll talk to our agents, which are Hamish and Andy, and we will go from there. But thanks, Craig, for joining us on number 100.
Mate, what an achievement. Well done. No one I'd rather sit by. Here's to another 100.
Absolutely. And I'm now going to go around to the back of the phone and make sure I hit record before we got started.
Perfect.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
See you
everyone.
next time.
Bye.